Have you ever noticed something strange? You can understand English. You can read English. You even know hundreds of English words. But the moment someone asks you to speak, your mind suddenly becomes blank. The words disappear. Your heart starts beating faster and you begin translating every sentence from your native language before speaking. If this has ever happened to you, you're not alone. Millions of English learners around the world experience the exact same problem. But here's the good news. The problem isn't that you're bad at English. The problem is that your brain has never been trained to think in English. Today, you're going to discover how your brain actually learns languages, why traditional learning methods often fail, and the simple techniques that can literally rewire your brain to speak English more naturally. By the end of this video, you'll understand why some people become fluent much faster than others, even if they study less. And you'll have a practical plan that you can start using today. Let's begin with a surprising fact. According to neuroscientists, your brain contains around 86 billion neurons. Every time you learn something new, these neurons create connections. The more you repeat a skill, the stronger those connections become. This process is known as neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity means your brain can change, adapt, and build new pathways throughout your life. This is why children learn languages quickly. But here's the exciting part. Adults can also build these pathways. The only difference is how they train their brains. Many people believe they're too old to become fluent in English. That simply isn't true. Research has shown that adults are fully capable of learning a second language. The challenge isn't age. The challenge is using the wrong learning strategy. Most learners spend years memorizing grammar rules and vocabulary lists. They know thousands of words, but they rarely use them in real conversations. As a result, their brain stores English as information instead of treating it as a communication skill. Think about riding a bicycle. You didn't learn by reading 100 pages about balance. You learned by practicing. Speaking English works exactly the same way. Your brain develops fluency through repeated communication, not through endless memorization. Psychologist Anders Ericsson, famous for his research on deliberate practice, discovered that improvement comes from focused, repeated practice with immediate feedback. Simply spending more hours isn't enough. What matters is how you practice. This idea applies perfectly to learning English. If every day you actively speak, even for 10 or 15 minutes, your brain begins building stronger speaking pathways. Now imagine this situation. Someone asks you a simple question in English. What did you eat today? Instead of answering immediately, your brain follows a slow process. First, it creates the sentence in your native language. Then it translates each word into English. Then it checks the grammar. Finally, after several seconds, you speak. By that time, the conversation has already moved on. Why does this happen? Because your brain has become addicted to translation. Translation feels safe because you've practiced it for years. Unfortunately, fluent speakers don't translate. They think directly in English. Their brains connect ideas with English words instantly. The goal isn't to become a human dictionary. The goal is to train your brain to recognize English as a natural language for thinking. That shift changes everything. Here's another fascinating discovery. Cognitive scientists explain that the brain prefers familiar patterns. Every time you repeat a habit, your brain strengthens that pattern. If your daily habit is translating, you'll become faster at translating. But if your daily habit is thinking in English, your brain gradually makes that process automatic. This explains why some learners feel stuck for years. They're practicing the wrong habit. They're becoming experts at translating instead of experts at speaking. There's another hidden enemy that stops people from speaking English confidently. It's called language anxiety. Researchers have found that stress reduces the brain's ability to recall information quickly. In other words, the more nervous you become, the harder it is to remember words you already know. Have you ever answered English questions perfectly while studying alone, but forgotten everything during a real conversation? That's language anxiety in action. Your English didn't disappear. Your brain simply became overloaded with fear. The solution isn't to eliminate mistakes. The solution is to convince your brain that speaking English is safe. Every conversation, every sentence, every small success tells your brain, there's nothing to fear. Over time, your confidence grows naturally. One of the biggest myths about language learning is that you need perfect grammar before speaking. That's completely backwards. Bobbies don't study grammar before speaking. They listen first. They imitate. They experiment. They make thousands of mistakes. Eventually, their brains recognize patterns automatically. Adults often reverse this process. They wait until everything is perfect before speaking. Unfortunately, perfection never arrives. Progress comes first. Perfection comes much later. Think of your brain like a muscle. A muscle becomes stronger through consistent exercise, not by reading fitness books. Your speaking ability develops through consistent speaking, not by collecting grammar notes. Here's something that may completely change how you view English learning. Every sentence you successfully speak creates evidence inside your brain that says, I can do this. That evidence builds confidence. Confidence encourages more speaking. More speaking creates stronger neural pathways. Stronger pathways make speaking easier. This becomes a positive cycle that keeps improving over time. But remember this. Your brain doesn't care about motivation. It cares about repetition. Motivation comes and goes. Habits remain. That's why the people who become fluent aren't always the smartest. They're usually the most consistent. So if you've ever believed that your brain isn't designed for English, erase that belief today. Your brain is already designed to learn. It has been doing that since the day you were born. You simply need to train it in the right way. And in the next part of this video, you'll learn 5 powerful brain training techniques that language experts recommend to stop translating, start thinking in English, and speak more naturally every single day. Those methods are simple, practical, and can begin transforming your English much faster than you might imagine. Techniques to speak English naturally. Now that you understand why your brain struggles to speak English, it's time to train it the right way. Remember, fluency isn't built by knowing more English. It's built by making English your brain's default language. These 5 techniques are backed by principles from psychology, neuroscience, and language acquisition research. They're simple enough to start today, yet powerful enough to transform the way you speak over time. Let's begin with the first technique. Think in English before you speak. This sounds obvious, but most learners never actually practice it. Throughout the day, your brain is constantly talking to itself. Scientists call this your inner speech. Usually, that inner voice uses your native language. From today, start changing that habit. As soon as you wake up, look around your room and describe everything in English. Say, I'm getting out of bed. I'm opening the window. The weather looks nice. I need to drink some water. I have work today. Don't worry if your sentences are simple. Your goal isn't impressive vocabulary. Your goal is to teach your brain that English is a language for thinking, not just for exams. At first, your thoughts will feel slow. That's completely normal. Within a few weeks of daily practice, your brain will begin forming English sentences automatically without translating. The second technique is called shadowing. one of the most effective speaking exercises used by language learners around the world. Here's how it works. Choose a short English video, podcast, or audiobook spoken by a native speaker. Put on your headphones and repeat every sentence immediately after you hear it. Try to copy the pronunciation, rhythm, speed, and emotion. Don't pause after every sentence. Speak while listening, almost like you're becoming the speaker's shadow. This exercise trains your mouth, ears, and brain to work together. Instead of thinking about grammar rules, your brain starts recognizing natural speaking patterns. At first, you may miss words or stumble over pronunciation. That's perfectly fine. Keep going. Every repetition strengthens the neural pathways responsible for fluent speech. After a few weeks, you'll notice that common English phrases begin appearing naturally in your conversations. Now for the third technique. Stop memorizing individual words and start learning phrases. Imagine someone says the word decision. Your brain has to figure out which verb goes with it. Should you say do a decision, make a decision, or something else? If you've only memorized vocabulary, you'll hesitate. But if you've learned the entire phrase, make a decision, your brain recalls it instantly. This is exactly how fluent speakers communicate. They don't build every sentence word by word. They retrieve ready-made chunks of language. Instead of memorizing the word important, learn phrases like it's very important. The most important thing is, or this is important because. Instead of learning the word agree, learn I completely agree, I don't agree with that, or I totally agree with you. These language chunks allow your brain to speak much faster because it doesn't have to create every sentence from scratch. The fourth technique is something many learners ignore. Speak out loud every single day, even when you're alone. Your brain and your mouth must learn to work together. Reading silently improves understanding, but it doesn't build speaking fluency. The muscles involved in pronunciation need regular practice. Imagine a football player who only watches matches but never trains on the field. No matter how much knowledge he has, he won't become a better player without practice. Speaking English is exactly the same. Talk to yourself while cooking, walking, cleaning your room, or traveling. Describe what you're doing, explain your plans, tell yourself stories. Pretend you're teaching someone. At first, it may feel strange. But remember, you're training your brain, not entertaining anyone else. Every minute you spend speaking aloud makes future conversations feel easier and more natural. The fifth technique may be the most powerful of all. Surround your brain with English every day. Your brain learns through exposure. The more often it hears English, the more familiar the language becomes. Change your phone's language to English. Watch YouTube videos in English. Listen to podcasts while traveling. Read simple articles before going to bed. Follow English-speaking creators on social media. Even if you don't understand every word, your brain is constantly identifying patterns. Over time, common sentence structures become familiar. You stop translating because your brain already recognizes what sounds natural. This process happens gradually, almost without you noticing. One day, you'll hear a sentence and understand it instantly. Another day, you'll answer a question before realizing you never translated it. Those are signs that your brain is changing. There's something important you should understand. Your brain doesn't improve during a single long study session. It improves through consistent daily repetition. 20 focused minutes every day is far more effective than studying 5 hours once a week. Every small practice session sends the same message to your brain. English matters. Keep strengthening these connections. Many learners quit because they don't see results after a few days. But think about going to the gym. You don't expect visible muscles after one workout. Language learning follows the same principle. Small improvements accumulate until one day you suddenly realize you're speaking more confidently than ever before. Here's a challenge for you. Starting today, spend just 15 minutes training your brain, 5 minutes thinking in English, 5 minutes shadowing a native speaker, 5 minutes speaking aloud about your day. That's only 15 minutes. Almost everyone can find 15 minutes. The difference between fluent and non-fluent learners often isn't talent, it's consistency. And here's the most encouraging part. Every time you practice, your brain literally changes. New neural pathways become stronger. Existing connections become faster. What feels difficult today will eventually feel effortless. That's not motivation. That's biology. In the next part of this video, you'll discover a simple daily routine that combines all of these techniques into one powerful system. You'll also learn the biggest mistakes that secretly slow down English fluency and exactly how to avoid them. By the end, you'll have a step-by-step roadmap that you can follow every single day to train your brain to think and speak in English naturally. Now you know the 5 most effective techniques for training your brain to speak English. But here's the question that matters most. How do you combine them into a daily routine that actually works? Because knowing the right methods is one thing. Using them consistently is what creates real fluency. The biggest mistake many learners make is trying to study everything at once. One day they memorize 50 new words. The next day they spend hours watching grammar videos. Then they skip English for 3 or 4 days because they're too busy. This cycle feels productive, but it confuses the brain. Your brain doesn't reward intensity. It rewards consistency. Imagine watering a plant. If you pour 50 liters of water on it once a month, the plant won't grow. But if you give it a little water every day, it becomes stronger and healthier. Your brain learns languages the same way. Small daily practice is far more powerful than occasional marathon study sessions. So here's a simple 30-minute daily routine that can gradually transform your English speaking ability. Start with the first 5 minutes. Don't open a grammar book. Don't translate anything. Simply begin thinking in English. As you brush your teeth, make breakfast, or get ready for work or school, describe everything you're doing. Say, I'm washing my face. I'm making tea. Today I have a busy schedule. I hope everything goes well. Your sentences don't need to be perfect. They just need to be in English. This trains your brain to produce thoughts directly in English instead of relying on translation. Next, spend 10 minutes listening and shadowing. Choose one English video, podcast, or interview that matches your current level. Listen carefully and repeat each sentence immediately after the speaker. Copy the pronunciation, rhythm, and emotion. Don't worry if you can't keep up at first. The goal isn't perfection. The goal is repetition. Day after day, your ears become sharper, your pronunciation becomes clearer, and your brain begins recognizing natural speech patterns automatically. Now spend another 5 minutes learning phrases instead of isolated words. If today's phrase is, I'm looking forward to it, don't just memorize it. Use it in different situations. I'm looking forward to the weekend. I'm looking forward to meeting my friend. I'm looking forward to learning more English. The more context you create, the stronger the memory becomes. Your brain loves meaningful repetition. For the next 5 minutes, speak freely without stopping. Pick any topic. Talk about your family, your hobbies, your work, your dreams, your favorite movie, or what happened during your day. Don't stop every time you make a mistake. Keep speaking. If you forget a word, explain the idea using simpler English. This is exactly what fluent speakers do. They communicate first and correct themselves later. Finally, spend the last 5 minutes reviewing what you learned. Repeat today's phrases. Say them aloud one more time. Recall the new expressions without looking at your notes. This final review tells your brain that the information is important and worth remembering. Now let's talk about something that silently destroys progress: the fear of making mistakes. Many learners stay quiet because they believe every sentence must be perfect. But think about how children learn to speak. They make thousands of mistakes. Nobody expects perfection from them. Those mistakes are not failures. They're part of the learning process. The same is true for adults learning English. Every mistake gives your brain feedback. Every correction strengthens your understanding. If you never speak because you're afraid of being wrong, your brain never gets the opportunity to improve. There's a famous quote often attributed to Nelson Mandela: "I never lose, I either win or learn." That's exactly how you should think about English. Every conversation is either a success or a lesson. Either way, you move forward. Another mistake is comparing yourself to people who have been learning English for many years. Social media makes this even worse. You see someone speaking fluently and think, "I'll never reach that level." But what you don't see are the thousands of hours they spent practicing, struggling, and making mistakes before becoming confident. Compare yourself only to the person you were yesterday. If you can understand one more sentence today, remember one more phrase, or speak for one more minute without translating, you're making progress. Let's talk about memory for a moment. Many people complain, "I learn new words, but I forget them after a few days." That's completely normal. Memory works through repetition. Psychologists have shown that information fades quickly unless it's reviewed regularly. That's why using new words in conversations is much more effective than reading them once in a notebook. Every time you use a word in a real sentence, your brain treats it as valuable information and stores it more deeply. Here's another powerful habit. Keep an English diary. Every night, write 5 or 10 simple sentences about your day. Then read those sentences aloud. This combines writing, reading, speaking, and thinking in one exercise. Over time, you'll notice your sentences becoming longer, smoother, and more natural. And don't underestimate the power of listening. Even when you're not actively studying, your brain is learning. Listen to English while walking, exercising, commuting, or doing household chores. You don't have to understand every word. Your brain is constantly absorbing pronunciation, rhythm, and sentence structure. This passive exposure makes active speaking much easier. Remember, fluency isn't about speaking fast. It's about expressing your ideas clearly and confidently. Slow, clear English is always better than fast, confusing English. Confidence grows from clarity, and clarity grows from daily practice. One day, something amazing will happen. Someone will ask you a question in English, and before you even realize it, you'll answer instantly. No translation, no panic, no long pause, just English. That moment isn't luck. It's the result of hundreds of small practice sessions adding up over time. In the final part of this video, you'll discover a powerful 30-day brain training challenge that can help turn English into a natural habit. You'll also hear the final message that could completely change the way you approach learning English, not just for the next month, but for the rest of your life. Imagine waking up 30 days from now. Someone greets you in English, instead of freezing, instead of translating every word. Instead of worrying about grammar, you smile, take a deep breath, and answer naturally. Not because you've memorized every rule in the English language, but because your brain has finally accepted English as a language for communication instead of a school subject. That transformation doesn't happen overnight. It happens one day at a time, one sentence at a time, one habit at a time. So here's your 30-day brain training challenge. For the next 30 days, promise yourself that you won't skip a single day of English practice. You don't need 3 hours. You don't need expensive courses. You only need consistency. Every morning, spend 5 minutes thinking in English. Describe your surroundings. Talk about your plans. Ask yourself simple questions and answer them in English. Every afternoon or evening, spend 10 minutes listening to English content and shadowing the speaker. Copy their pronunciation, rhythm, and confidence. Don't just hear the language, feel it, repeat it, make it your own. Then spend 5 minutes learning useful phrases instead of isolated vocabulary. Remember, fluent speakers don't build every sentence word by word. They use patterns that have become automatic through repetition. After that, spend another 5 minutes speaking aloud. Tell a story about your day. Explain something you learned. Share your opinion about a movie, a book, or a YouTube video. Keep talking, even if you make mistakes. Finally, review everything for 5 minutes before going to sleep. Those last few minutes help your brain strengthen the memories you've created during the day. If you complete this routine every day for 30 days, you won't become perfect, but you'll become noticeably more confident. Speaking will feel less stressful. Your vocabulary will come faster. Your pronunciation will improve. Most importantly, you'll begin thinking in English instead of translating. Now, let me tell you something that every English learner needs to hear. There will be days when you feel like you're making no progress. You'll forget words you've already learned. You'll make grammar mistakes. You'll mispronounce sentences. You'll compare yourself to people who speak better than you. Don't let those moments fool you. Progress in language learning is often invisible. Your brain is changing long before you notice the results. Every conversation strengthens neural connections. Every listening session improves your understanding. Every mistake teaches your brain what works and what doesn't. Think of a bamboo tree. For years after it's planted, almost nothing appears above the ground. It seems like nothing is happening. But beneath the surface, an enormous root system is growing stronger every single day. Then when the foundation is ready, the bamboo suddenly grows incredibly fast. Learning English is remarkably similar. For weeks or even months, your progress may feel slow. But underneath the surface, your brain is building stronger pathways, creating faster connections, and preparing for fluency. Then one day, almost without warning, you'll understand a conversation that once seemed impossible. You'll express an idea without translating. You'll realize you've been thinking in English for several minutes without even noticing. That's when you'll understand something powerful. Fluency isn't a destination you reach in a single moment. It's the result of thousands of small decisions made every day. The decision to practice when you're tired. The decision to speak even when you're nervous. The decision to continue even when progress feels slow. Those ordinary decisions create extraordinary results. Language experts often remind us that the people who succeed are rarely the most naturally talented. They're the ones who refuse to stop. They understand that consistency beats intensity. A little practice every day is stronger than occasional bursts of motivation. So stop waiting for the perfect time. Stop waiting until your grammar is perfect. Stop waiting until your vocabulary is big enough. Start speaking with the English you already know. Every fluent speaker once struggled with simple sentences. Every confident speaker once felt embarrassed. Every expert was once a beginner. The only difference is that they kept going. From this moment forward, make one promise to yourself. Don't study English just to pass an exam. Don't learn English just to memorize vocabulary. Train your brain to live in English, think in English, listen in English, read in English, speak in English. And little by little, day after day, English will stop feeling like a foreign language. It will become part of the way you think. 1 year from today, you'll either wish you had started, or you'll be grateful that you did. The choice begins today. If you found this video helpful, let me know in the comments by writing one sentence in English. It doesn't have to be perfect, just write it. That's your first step toward confidence, and remember, your brain is always learning. The question is, what are you training it to become? Thank you for watching. Keep practicing, keep believing in yourself, and I'll see you in the next video. Until then, keep speaking, keep learning, and never stop growing.